You are now entering the spoiler zone. The following podcast contains explicit plot details and pockets of profanity. You have been warned.
The Exton Moss Experiment. Adventures in Wine and Space with Simon Exton and Ken Moss. Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to another edition of the Exton Moss Experiment. I'm Ken Moss.
I'm Simon Exton, and happy anniversary! 7 years of the Exton Moss Experiment.
7 years?
7 years.
There's not many pods go this far.
So we're doing a couple of massively self-congratulatory episodes.
We wouldn't be the first audio company to do that. Naming no names.
Nick fucking Briggs. We're going to watch a show that we've been talking about pretty much since day one and haven't got round to reviewing yet. So we're going to review the very well-remembered, initially ABC and then across Thames, quasi-legal drama Public Eye. The story of a private investigator called Frank Marker, who starts off with the first season in London and then moves to Birmingham for the second and third seasons, at the end of which he gets arrested for something that one of his clients did and gets sent to prison. And when he comes out of prison, goes to a halfway house in Brighton, and obviously as a convict can't work as a private investigator anymore. So it's the story of how he picks up his life, but still using his private investigation skills to help his fellow man. There are 5 surviving episodes from the first 3 seasons, the ones from ABC, which have been beautifully cleaned up and collected by Network. God bless them.
God rest them.
And we're going to be doing 3 of them.
Before we do, it's time for a little drinky. It's time to wave the tonic screwdriver and get the lid off another bottle of gin.
And a slightly special bottle of gin, because we have a special release. That sounds awful.
That sounded better in your head. Tonight we're drinking Bombay Sapphire Premier Cru. Well,
we are not worthy. Well, actually, fuck it, yeah, we are.
Yes, we are. It's 47%. It's Tuscan juniper, wild juniper and fennel seed, special release from the Tuscan region of Italy. And the infobolic says a small special batch release gin from Bombay Sapphire celebrating nature's most vibrant juniper berries, sustainably sourced from the Italian Tuscan hills. This expression elevates the pine-fresh intensity of our hand-picked juniper berries, balanced with bright, zesty citrus and a hint of spice, to create a beautifully rounded gin of true character. Each small batch is precisely cut by our master distiller to ensure every bottle is a tribute to the region, the farmer's craftsmanship and the harvest. Serve long with a tonic and a twist of lemon, or enjoy in a classic martini cocktail. We are just having this with tonic and ice. First things first, little sniff.
Smells like gin.
I'm going to bugger all off that. Eyes down, dive in.
Tastes like gin.
It's got that little semi-sherbety fizz, which I quite like from premium standard gins.
For all the sales blether, you'd be hard-pitched to pick it from standard Bombay Sapphire, wouldn't you?
There is a difference. This one's got a little, sort of that sherbety fizz to separate it, but I keep coming back to Asda premium gin that we had all those years ago that you can't buy anymore. That, to me, is a bloody good baseline gin. And this is not quite as good as that. I mean, it's all right. It's very nice. It's a very enjoyable gin, and you won't be disappointed. Is it anything out of the ordinary, though?
But the special release Premier Cru Tuscan Juniper, you'd expect something a bit more special than this.
It's all right. I mean, I'll say this much. It's a very flavourful gin. And by that, I mean it's a very ginny gin. But there's nothing particularly outstanding about it. It's, again, like Bombay Sapphire, it's very beautifully presented in a blue bottle, and Premier Cru just speaks slightly upper echelons of gin.
Which it doesn't really live up to.
It doesn't, unfortunately. I'd feel cruel giving it a 3, but it is only a 4. And I say only because you really want this to be a 5 with the way it sells itself and with the way it looks. And, Bombay Sapphire is a long established brand. It's, right up there. Everybody knows what you're going to get. It should be better than this. What about you?
I'm afraid I have to agree. This came to us from Amsterdam via Glasgow.
You'll tell the story, I'm sure.
Well, I was in Amsterdam and I was flying back to the UK and I bought this in duty free because it's a travel exclusive. And I flew to Edinburgh because my friend Kate and I were going to go and see a gig. And then the day after I flew down to Bristol to catch up with my folks. So obviously I couldn't take a full-size bottle of gin onto the second flight. So Kate took it back with her to Glasgow, and then next time she came to visit, brought it with her to us.
And here it is tonight.
So it's been around the houses a bit.
So drink in hand, it's time to descend into the under gallery here at Podcasting House and open up one of the doors. Dr. Exton, where do you fancy this time?
Well, I think we should brave the fish person and go into the Imaginarium.
What are you cooking up?
Well, because this is what we would love to have seen on television. And it's a bit of a special episode, so we want something really special. What had a tragically short run?
It's either the Corridor People or Outland, and I'm going to say the Corridor People.
It was going to be Outland, actually. But now you happen to mention the Corridor People. No, my Imaginarium pick is a number of series of Outland. I think they would have had to extend the premise a little bit, but they had such a good, strong central cast and absolutely beyond hilarious writing with a love of Doctor Who. I would like many seasons of Outland.
I'm not going to argue with that.
With the wonderful and lovely Mr. Adam Richard front and centre as Fab.
We really should revisit that. That was a glorious 6 episodes, that. Excellent.
You're thinking that I haven't.
I don't have a copy. We really should put it on some sort of free streaming service as a rip so that other people can enjoy it. The DVDs are ruinously expensive. I might treat myself with the house earnings.
Are they still ruinously
I don't know,
expensive?
let's have a look.
I haven't looked for years because, I've got a copy of it.
Well, I can buy an Australian copy, but, UK. Series 1, ultra rare. That's from Australia as well. It might just be worth buying it from Australia and paying the shipping. Postage, 30 Australian dollars. It's about 15 quid. It is worth owning a copy of. I think I might splash out on that. Well, my Imaginarium is going to be a series of Doctor Who with Bill Nye as the Doctor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like what he does, but he's a bit one note.
There's 2 people that I would have liked to have seen as Doctor Who. The moment has passed. One is Bill Nye, one is Richard O'Brien. Richard O'Brien, I think, I could see in a long green velvet coat cum cloak with boots, and he'd have to have the harmonica. In fact, no, I think I'll go with the Richard O'Brien series of Doctor Who, because in the 90s he was my mental pick. I thought he would just have the right thing.
I think it would be Catherine Tate syndrome. I think he would be sort of frenetic and energetic in the way that Tennant was, and that would work brilliantly up until the point where he actually had to act. And he's not a great actor. He's a very, very, very good and entertaining showman. But it's all massive caricature. I don't think that would work.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing a screen test, but I think it might be the moment may have passed now. He's knocking on a little bit, isn't he? He's not what he was.
Didn't you send me a picture of him fairly recently?
Yeah. At the time of recording in 2025, yeah. But he probably is knocking on. Cue the Oracle.
70, I would have to guess.
I bet he's near enough 80. He's 82.
In retrospect, and as much fun as it would be for an episode or 2, again, I think it would be a little bit single note, is Eddie Izzard.
Again, I think it's probably because I know Eddie Izzard's performance style and indeed acting style reasonably well. He has acted, or she has acted in things. And
things like Castles in the Skies.
I just think with something like Doctor Who, everything's made of jam would come through a lot, I think.
Certainly would have the possibility of being Williams era Tom Baker unless
restrained.
Leashed. The other one's Patterson Joseph, and I still think he played a brilliant Doctor.
I massively disagreed with that choice until I'd seen Neverwhere. And then, yes, I completely saw it. But the only thing I'd seen Patterson Joseph in was Doctor Who in Parting of the Ways. And it wasn't a performance that I thought, what's all the fuss about here?
A minor character, wasn't he?
Yes, you're only as good as the material you're given. And
yeah, I mean, some guest stars are kind of wasted.
David Warner.
Olivia Colman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tamsin Greig.
Ian McKellen. He was just a voiceover in The Snowman. Well, while we're on this little Imaginarium trip, I'm going to round it off by saying yet again, and again the moment's passed, Helen Mirren.
Yes.
The moment's passed, but she would have been, 10, 15 years ago, she would have been the right age, the right gravitas, everything about her would have been striding into the room in a sort of Joanna Lumley-esque costume. I'm the Doctor. Fuck, she is and all. In a way that, regressively, Jodie Whittaker and certainly Ncuti Gatwa does not have that gravitas. You can't just bounce and flounce and I'm the Doctor. Tell me what's going on right now. Yeah.
Well, you kind of can after the whole ramping up of importance, and that's not a new Who thing. That started with McCoy, the whole Times Champion thing, and then he becomes this god, effectively. All of that was building up through Tennant and Smith and this planet is protected and all of this, and it's never who he was. Kind of like the fact that Ncuti Gatwa is going back to the not being the most important creature in the universe.
No, I get all that. That's great. And I think it must be in the performance because David Tennant as 14, to me, brilliant as Doctor Who. Absolutely, but that was distilled what Doctor Who was. There was the right amount of curiosity about the universe and bounce, but there was the gravitas of age. This is why I prefer an older actor to play Doctor Who. Not necessarily old, but older. I think Ncuti Gatwa, with the exception of Matt Smith, who I was dead wrong about, when he needed to, he commanded the room. But you can't just flounce on screen and be Doctor Who and command the room. You have to. And again, I don't lay this. I am very much looking forward to Jodie Whittaker's audio series, which I have already pre-ordered, because I'd like to see what a different take on the 13th Doctor is. I think what we got on screen was just incompetence. It's not her fault.
Yes, I agree. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing her Big Finish treatment.
So, having cast a spell in various directions, we are now back in the viewing room. And what's our first episode of Public Eye tonight?
Right, so first off, we're going to watch the first surviving episode, which is the second ever episode, which is called Nobody Kills Santa Claus.
Who are you? Sit down and I'll tell you. Where's Mr. Ellis? Detained. Now I'll ask the questions. Why did you want Garson beaten up?
I don't know what you're talking
You're
about.
2 moves behind the game, son. Ellis talked. Why did you want Garson beaten up?
Well, that's my business.
Look, I'm particular who belts me in the kidneys, and I'm too old to relish a steel toe cap up my backside, and whether you tell me or you tell the police. The longer I sit, the less patient I get.
Well, he was playing around with my wife. I had to teach him a lesson.
Your wife called Anne?
Yes.
Small, blonde?
You know her?
I didn't realise she was married. When did you first meet up with Garson?
Hart, the managing director, he introduced them, I think, at a party at Christmas.
Yeah, well, we might be able to skip the police.
Oh, might we?
No, don't knock it, son. You could do with some help.
What do you want me to do?
Well, keep this to yourself. Forget we ever met. I'll try and forget about the beating up. Then you try and forget about Garson.
Okay, so we have watched all 5 of the surviving episodes from the ABC years.
Before we say a word, that really just demonstrates how good it is.
It is, because we weren't intending to watch all 5.
We planned, I know the way these things go, and I know that we were going to end up watching 3 episodes, so I'd seen the couple that weren't going to be in the plan. And the plan was to watch the first surviving episode, the last surviving episode, and the episode with Carol Ann Ford in. And I watched the other 2, and they're brilliant. And then we started watching them, and they are just so good. We decided to watch all 5. And that's very unusual.
It is unusual, yeah. I have to say, before we get into each one, what a good series. This pretty much epitomises why we do the archive TV that we do.
And it's why I've been talking about it for as long as I've been talking about it. Because I saw
7 years.
A lot longer than that. Because I saw these years and years and years ago when the network release first came out, and knew that it would be exactly our wheelhouse. And whatever has conspired over the last 7 years for us not to have done it, it is exactly the sort of thing that we started EME to talk about.
We will go through them in order then. First up is Nobody Killed Santa Claus, which is the second episode of the first series. This was originally transmitted on the 30th of January 1965.
And by far the weakest.
It is. It's an odd one to start with, because if this is the second episode of the very first series, Marker, played by Alfred Burke, who is our lead character, is barely in it.
And with something like this, where they're doing weekly episodes and he's basically carrying the series. It's not that there weren't any other leads, there weren't any other regulars. So it was him front and centre every episode. Unless you had an episode like this where he was a little bit background, and the episode, as a result, didn't really work.
It wasn't bad, it was just really because it was the first one we watched, and I didn't realise who the lead character was. It was best part of 10 minutes in before he really appears. The plot concerns Marker being hired to protect a rather unlikable businessman, Garston, who is receiving death threats.
He works as a bodyguard but poses as the chauffeur and ends up getting the crap beaten out of him in place of Marston. The implication is that the people who were beating him up assumed that he was Marston.
As a piece of television, it was entertaining enough. As a piece of an ongoing series, certainly the second episode of a new series, to establish a character, quite poor, I think. And it's an interesting bit of scheduling. I can understand if it was further in the run. But the second episode, I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. I certainly was not bored by it. I just think it's a curious... I don't get the title either. Nobody Killed Santa Claus. Don't get it. Or what the relevance is.
The titles are usually snippets of dialogue that turn up in the episode.
Yeah, I noticed that with one further down the line.
I can't remember where the dialogue is in this, but I'm pretty sure all the surviving episodes, the titles are from dialogue.
That's really all there is to say about that episode. I mean, in terms, like I say, it's a very good piece of TV, but not representative of what we watched after it. We'll cover the other three, and then we'll finish with the Carol Ann Ford episode, which is from Series 1. The next one in the run was Don't Forget Your Mine.
Who's that?
Mark, I want to work with you, please.
Sir Mark, what a time to call. Couldn't you wait till later?
No, I'm sorry. You've been a bit less than honest with me, haven't you?
Have I?
Yes. You and your husband were divorced 3 years ago. What's the matter? Slip your mind?
Did I say we weren't?
Well, you led me to that conclusion.
Oh, Mr. Marker, that doesn't sound much like a detective. Conclusions? Is that the basis on which you take your cases? I think we'd better call a halt to the whole thing.
Yeah, until the next inquiry agent opens up an office, and then the whole nasty business starts all over again.
I don't see that's anything for you to worry about. How much do I owe you?
£40.
Pity. I made it for 50. Never mind.
Well, this is one cheque I'm not going to cash.
Why not?
It's going straight into my safe until you start to bother the Scots again. And then it goes straight to the police.
That's blackmail.
That's right. Blackmail.
This was from the 9th of July 1966, from the second series.
Much more typical of the story in that it's grim and gritty and nasty, and there's a very common theme throughout Public Eye that it's the little people who don't have financial clout who are being controlled and manipulated by those with money, and Frank Marker ends up on the side of the victims and does what he can to help. And often the situation doesn't change very much after he's done whatever he's going to do. It does with this. This one, he sorts the problem out. It's part of the second season, so it's just as he's moved to Birmingham. And from a production point of view, as I understand it, the team wanted to do more outside broadcast. There was a recognition that the first series was very studio-based. And they wanted to show more of out and about and city life. And that wasn't really possible in London. as much as it was in Birmingham. And we got a lot of external filming for this, and filming around the bus station, I think it was. I don't think I'm not sure whether there was any filming at the train station, but it looked as though there might have been. But there was certainly out and about in Birmingham, and filming at proper houses with exteriors and establishing shots, and the school.
I mean, this one was wonderful. The whole feel of the thing was much more 1960s espionage, is a bit too far, but that sort of gritty drama. And I love all the location stuff in particular.
Yeah, there were elements of sort of those kitchen sink dramas that they were doing at the time, like sort of Taste of Honey and that kind of thing. Actually, there are some bits of this that really reminds me of A Taste of Honey.
I'm not familiar with it.
Rita Tushingham film from mid to late 60s.
No, not at all. It's not even ringing any bells. But the general style of the thing is very gritty 60s. I mean, there's nothing... I won't say that Birmingham is portrayed as being hostile, but it's certainly... You need to live on your wits to get by. Everybody's quite...
Yeah, but that's also the way London was portrayed in the first series. That's just kind of the theme of the show, and it's all a bit downbeat, and a lot of the time you can't really do anything very much to help them. They're definitely one of the episodes that we'll come back to this on. With this, he does actually, in part, sort the problem out, and it's the story of a woman whose husband has left her a few months earlier, and she hires Markham to find him. Perfectly straightforward, until you realise that actually he left her 3 years ago and got divorced and got married to somebody else. And the previous wife, as soon as there's a new inquiry agent in town, sets them on finding the couple, knowing that they will be tracked down, he will go to their lodgings, and they will lose their place to live. And that's exactly what happens here. And rather than just saying, oh, well, I've done my job and I'm going to go and get paid, and I don't really care that you fucked up your life again, he goes back and he deals with her, gets paid by cheque, says, I now have this as evidence that you are harassing them. And if you do it again, and I will hear if you do it again because they'll get in touch with me, then I'm going to the police with proof of this, that you are harassing them. And at that point, the inference is that she stops.
As a character...
And shags her toy boy.
And shags her toy boy in a very peculiar end shot. And the 1960s, everything's supposed to be quite chaste, but...
That was a bit Beryl Reid and Entertaining Mr. Sloan, wasn't it?
I've never seen that either. I know you've told me that Beryl Reid cops off in something. It's not something I'm in a great hurry to see.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely... Joe Orton is wonderful. What the Butler Saw, Loot, Entertaining Mr. Sloan, they're really entertaining plays, but the films that have been made of them, they're very much of their time, but they're a lot of fun.
Oh, Loot I'm familiar with. Is Lucky Stiff one of his?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Lucky Stiff's a bit Weekend at Bernie's. I forget who wrote that, but that's another good. It's in the same vein. No, it's just Beryl Reid copping off on camera. I can probably live without that.
She plays it as a grotesque, and it is wonderfully, wonderfully done.
Burke himself, Alfred Burke, who plays Marker,
pretty much the definition of an anti-hero.
He is marvellous. Absolutely compelling.
And carries everything. Absolutely everything. There are no other regular characters. He is there front and centre in everything but that first episode that we watched. And he's not infallible. And he's not invincible. He is very human and fantastically portrayed. And I can absolutely see why this has such a good reputation, both in the general public at the time, but also amongst fans.
Well, he's a very good actor to start with, but he's also got an interesting face. Now, that does help things along. If somebody's got a distinctive, interesting face, and I've said it with Doctor Who's, it's all about the eyes and the teeth, and he's got very expressive eyes and this thin face. You see him in his office, he's always got a mug of tea or a sandwich or something. He's always busy doing something.
And he's got a heart of gold that has been battered by life into all sorts of weird shapes, so he does the best that he can, but equally can recognise where this is a situation he just has to walk away from.
I do like the moral aspect of it. He does try and, solve situations rather than just get paid for them. I like that. And there's something... Yeah, I mean, we'll move on to the next episode because this is a running theme throughout all of them. The next one along is Works with Chess, Not with Life.
Nice clean job.
I'll have shilling, please.
Didn't stint yourselves, oysters, porterhouse?
Well, I had a good look at the menu first. When she ordered mushrooms with her steak, I couldn't believe my luck.
There's something else I meant to ask you. Have you ever had any experience of doctors being blackmailed, unprofessional conduct, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I heard about it, read about it, never met it myself, though.
I'm giving a little dinner party Friday night, celebration of this. I'd like you to come.
Ah, it's very kind of you, thank you very much, but dinner parties are not exactly my style.
Come on, do you good. Only be 4 or 5 people there. Be a break from your monastic seclusion. Or perhaps it isn't so monastic.
Oh, monastic and very dull.
7:30 for 8?
All right.
This was transmitted from the second season on the 13th of August 1966.
It starts off with the closest that any of the surviving episodes get to comedy.
Yes.
Because there's a woman who is threatening to sue a hotel for food poisoning that they organised to get a doctor's appointment miles away from Birmingham, and she ends up having, after the appointment, 2 hours to wait for the bus, so she hides in the pub next to where the bus stop is, meets Markham, has a slap-up meal with him while he's pretending to be a salesman, and then at the end of the meal, she turns around and there's the solicitor that she's trying to con money out of, and he just says, you know what, you're rumbled, sign this disclaimer, take this tenner, fuck off.
But that's not the end of the episode, that's merely...
And she gets her own back by necking Paul Marker's drink.
Brandy, it looks like it'll be an expensive one.
It looked like water in a glass. It was a brandy glass, but that was very pale. To quote somebody from a podcast we may have an association with, the most anemic fucking looking brandy I've ever seen.
It was insipid. But that's just the start of it. The episode carries on.
Yeah, and it all ends up around the infidelity of the doctor who did the examination, and it's a very straightforward story. He's knocking about behind his wife's back, and the wife is family friend of the solicitor who got Markham involved, so said, can you find out what's going on? But she must never know. And then she comes to Markham and says, can you follow him and make sure that you follow him and have a word with him, but he must never know that I'm the one that's employed you. So it's all people trying subterfuge and it not really working and all the truth coming out at the end. Or does it? Did the doctor and his wife ever actually talk about things at the end? I know he stays with her and...
We don't actually see them in the same shot again. In fact, I don't think we ever see them in the same shot.
Well, the husband and wife.
Yeah, do we? I don't think we do. Oh, not towards the end. I think it's just resolved and implied that he stays with her rather than... Until the next dalliance. Yeah. Again, in themselves, there's nothing remarkable about these episodes. They just hang together tremendously well.
They're beautifully written. They're beautifully acted. There is rarely a bad performance. The woman who's trying to con the hotel is a bit farcy.
She's played as a skag.
But it's all sort of winks to camera and fast. But that's the way that whole sequence... And it's just out of joint because all of the rest of the show is realistic and gritty and, people stuck in miserable situations that Markham tries to help and either can or can't.
Moving on, we have The Bromsgrove Venus, transmitted on the 16th of March 1968.
It was 3 years ago, just after I'd taken on the lease of this place, that I saw her in the street and I followed her. That's when it all started. I reckon somebody owed me something for those 4 years. Once it started, it went on. I just wanted to make her pay. $5 a month, it's not much. Now the silly bitch gets you.
Oh, she's not grumbling, but you know, that photograph, or a dirty great enlargement of it, was on exhibition at the local library.
It can't be the negatives here. Doesn't her husband work at the library?
He does.
Well, that's not my doing. I don't care anymore. She must have other admirers.
No. Just a bit of bad luck. Your husband's talent, her good looks, dirty old man with a camera shop, and a nasty-natured youth. Now, are you going to help me?
Help you?
Well, I could put the squeeze on you, you know.
Would you?
Do you know anything about photography?
Not much.
Well, can you pretend?
This is quite a convoluted story.
Yes.
About the most interesting thing is the absolute blatant way they have this sort of big reveal that a very fake male character is actually gay.
Would you, Adam, and believe it?
Yeah, but this was 2 years before...
68, so it'd be on the cusp.
Okay, 68 would have been just after decriminalisation, but it was very much not socially acceptable, and it was...
It was danced around. I mean, it was very clearly on screen, but it was all euphemistic.
No, it wasn't. The bit where Markham's in his flat and he's there in his dressing gown and this distinguished older gentleman just uses a key to walk in, that's all.
It's there, but it's never stated that he's a lover.
But it is. Not in that scene, but in a later scene where Markham is talking to the librarian and said, I can guarantee that your...
He's not interested in your wife.
I can guarantee that your wife didn't pose for that photo for him. And I can guarantee that no woman has posed for a photo like that, or words to that effect.
But it was all... Even it was danced around in a way that...
it was as clear as television could possibly be in that
I agree.
time.
Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't explicitly stated, he's over there bent double.
But we were left in no doubt as viewers.
No doubt whatsoever, either from the visual impression during the scene in the lad's flat, or in subsequent discussions about... We should probably say something about the plot, which is...
that would help, yes.
It's all about a photographic competition at a local library, and there is a photo that has been submitted of a woman, and the photo is taken from behind. She's lying there naked, but you can see her face in a mirror, and it is a pastiche or an homage to a famous work of art, and I'm not particularly...
I can't picture it either now, or know it.
Oh no, I can picture it. In my mind's eye, see the picture, but I'm not enough of an art historian to know what the picture is. Although from the title, I assume that there is Venus somewhere lurking around.
You'd think so, yes.
Yes, I think so. Anyway, it's the chief librarian's wife, and that's very clearly seen. As he's going to his office, he notices this and takes the photo down from the exhibition. And his assistant is the fair young lad who you initially think, is he the one that's taken the photo? Because they find out that he's the one that submitted the photo. The reason that they realise that he isn't the one that took the photo is because he's not interested in women.
He's a raving bender. Wouldn't have that sort.
Yes, with a very high-riding dressing gown.
Yes.
Which again was a bit racy of its time.
Yes, it was.
Because, it was a floor-length dressing gown, but it rode right up to his crotch, and the second he walked anywhere, full leg. I don't know, that sounds terribly Victorian for that to be shocking, but in a lot of ways, mid to late 60s was still very puritanical, and particularly in terms of male nudity or in terms of gay sexuality. Very, very conservative. And the bit at the end where Marker is convinced because this other fellow walks into the flat, that was going some at the time. They couldn't really have pushed the envelope any further.
Well, even in those days, there had to be one leg on the floor in any scenes involving a bed to ensure that, there was none of that going on. He's got his leg on the floor. It can't possibly be.
Well, that doesn't make sense. Because in the previous episode, there was Mrs. Woman in bed and fully in bed for quite a long time while she was talking to her husband. She didn't have a leg on the floor.
No, but he was fully clothed on top of the quilt. He wasn't in it with her. The two school teachers, he was...
No. Yes, there's that one as well. I was thinking about the two doctors when he comes back from seeing his fancy woman after the dinner party and his wife is reading War and Peace and she's there lying in bed.
Oh, no. The woman was allowed to be fully in bed, but if a man was in a bedroom scene or any scene with a bed, he had to have at least one leg.
Oh, so just the man?
Just the man, yes.
Okay. It really was quite puritanical. I focused on one fairly minor part of it.
But
I think it makes an important societal point at the time. And the plot is really quite convoluted because it turns out that there was a photographer who had split up with his girlfriend and they'd been together for years, had a brief dalliance with the wife of the librarian that went absolutely nowhere, but because he was a photographer, he took a load of photos, including this one that they regarded as a joke of the Venus thing. His wife, or ex-wife, got hold of it, made up a load of copies. It's never really made clear why.
No.
And went to the special developers. And again, this bit doesn't really make an awful lot of sense because they go on about being a special developer and they pay top rate and they're discreet. But the developer, if he particularly likes a photo, will keep his own copy. And those copies were stuck up on the wall in the shop so that the one of the Venus thing could be nicked by the assistant librarian, which is how he got hold of the photo. So on one hand, you've got the photography shop saying, yes, we're terribly discreet and we won't give anything away. On the other hand, they've got, well, look at all these nudie photos that we've developed, aren't we marvellous? So that bit was a bit of a juxtaposition.
The ex-wife of the photographer who kept all the copies, she was blackmailing all the women for £5 a month.
Oh, that's true. There was only one woman, but she was blackmailing her for a £5 a month.
Oh, I got it into my head that was how she was like earning a little bit on the side, that she'd got a £5 a month off all the women in the photograph.
There was only one.
Right.
That we know about.
That we know of, yeah.
But Markham went through that desk and only found that one photo.
No, there was a stack of them.
Yeah, there was a stack of them because she'd ordered all of these prints. They were saying it was unusual because they'd ordered 16 or whatever prints. It was all the same photo.
Oh, my mistake. Right.
It turns out that it was a whole convoluted plot that was resolved because the wife was able to say this was just a daft thing and I love my husband, and nothing actually came of it other than a few photos. And the dance instructress, who was the blackmailer, gave over all the photos and agreed not to be terribly beastly anymore. So that one, Markham actually sorted the situation out.
Well, for the time being. Of the ones we've seen, I think at least 3 of them have been a marriage on the rocks.
Which is probably bread and butter for an inquiry.
Yeah, I would say, yes. Again, it was convoluted but easy to follow. It wasn't...
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff out there.
Very good.
Oh, it was very good, yes. But I think, again, I'll say this again, in comparison with modern TV, the performances, the characters, the actors, they're distinctive. A lot of these would have been stage performers, primarily, who had found their way onto TV. I mean, it's just production of the time, but a lot of modern TV, they've only been TV actors. They've never performed on stage.
Well, I think some stage schools or some acting schools do separate courses for stage actors and for film and television actors.
Oh, well, they're completely different disciplines. And, times have moved on and there's more TV work than theatre work. So it's understandable. But for my mind, I prefer the theatre actors who have done TV work than the TV actors who have only ever done TV. I just think that they give, generally speaking, more interesting performances.
And the perfect example of that is Patrick McGoohan. So when you see his stuff like, have you seen Brand?
No.
Okay, we'll do that at some point.
Oh, don't! I'm getting that on a fucking T-shirt. We'll do that at some point.
Yeah, but it's basically live theatre as TV from the late 1950s. To the Chekhov or Tolstoy, somebody miserable. And he is superb in it. He is absolutely superb. But you look at his more formally multi-camera TV a few years later in his career, he comes across as quite wooden. You look at Ice Station Zebra, he doesn't put in a particularly dynamic performance. And okay, he's supposed to be this stoic secret agent. But then you come on to Danger Man, and he's this stoic secret agent. And then you come on to the prisoner, and he's this stoic secret agent. And even the bits where you would expect an emotional reaction, you don't get it. So the Chimes of Big Ben, where he spends ages locked in a packing crate, thinking that he is escaping, thinking he's getting back to London. And then he finds out he never left the village at all. And there's a breakdown. The breakdown isn't particularly convincing. Whereas when he's doing his stoicism, yeah, he's very good at that. And it's a bit Catherine Tate syndrome in that she...
I was wondering how long it would take before she came into this.
She's very, very good at the stroppy because it's a caricature. And her job is caricature. She's a comedian. She doesn't do the emotional nuance particularly well. With Patrick McGoohan, similar sort of thing. His real skill is as a theatre performer. And you can see that in the broadcast as live, because he's dynamic and he's engaged and he's 200% in character, and it just absolutely shines off the screen. But when you've got the multiple retakes and we're going to do this, oh darling, that wasn't quite right, can we redo that? It doesn't have that same immediacy. He doesn't look as though he's in the moment quite as much. But yeah, I agree with you. TV at this point is kind of my happy place, and it's like the Quatermass stuff, it's like Callan, it's like early Doctor Who. What you're seeing is theatrical style performances, and they just sing off the screen.
We'll now skip back to the first series episode, The Morning Wasn't So Hot, which was from the 10th of April 1965.
Still don't know how you got my number.
Oh, it's no secret. A few hotel porters, barmen, they all share the same privileged information.
They tell you my price.
Oh, everybody knows the price. £10 for the first offence, 25 for the second, 25 or 3 months or both for the third.
Hey, you sure you're not a policeman?
I'm an inquiry agent. Hired by your mother.
Done a good job, Mr. Marker. Thought I'd cover my tracks.
Yeah, I was lucky.
Magnanimous of you.
Oh, big word for a street girl.
I'm not a street girl.
Oh, not yet, maybe, but it's early days, isn't it? This is your first season. How about 5 years from now?
I'll be out of it by then.
Happily married? Children?
No. With what I'll have put away, I'll be all right.
Don't you think every old Tom said that once, and every feeble-minded brass, before she started looking into too many gin bottles, before she got sick, punch-drunk? Penicillin doesn't cure everything, you know.
Mr. Marker, you found me. Isn't that the end of your brief?
How about your mother?
How much to say you couldn't find me?
Oh, if I accepted just half the bribes.
Well, every man has his price.
Oh, that's a nice, open-minded attitude.
How much?
I won't tell her.
Why not?
It's easier that way. Easier for her, I mean. Perhaps she's got a few old party ribbons she can drag out and dream over.
This is the one with Carol Ann Ford from the first season. Now, before we go on to this, and while it's fresh in my mind, the title sequences change between series. The first series title sequence is a still image montage with basic animation to show Marker investigating stuff.
Yeah.
The second series title sequence is just one of the sort of electronic moving signs on the side of a huge building in Birmingham.
It's the bull ring. It's got a massive bull on the side of it.
Yes, the subtlety was lost on me. All it is a gentle zoom out from this electronic sign to show Birmingham as a whole and the traffic moving. But there's quite a bit of effort gone into making just that simple shot.
Yeah, and then the third season title sequence is a step up again, isn't it? Don't remember, it's that monument and you zoom in onto Markham having his sandwiches, and then he walks off and he walks around Birmingham, and there's public eye as a video effect over the footage. And then
oh, yes. So, I mean, the effort that's gone into this series, I'm deeply impressed. I can't believe it's taken us this long to get around to it.
I can.
But to wrap us up, like I say, the morning wasn't so hot, and this is the one, I'd say starring Carol Ann Ford, but featuring Carol Ann Ford, because she's in it, but she disappears for the middle third. She's not in it.
She does, but she's...
I mean, she's the focus of it, or her character is.
Who's there that's in it more?
Philip Maverick.
He's about the only one. But he's not around for the first big chunk. It's Freddie.
Blonde bit's in it more than anyone else. She's sort of peppered throughout the damn thing.
No, she isn't. She's in about 3 scenes.
It felt like more.
She's in that initial scene in the cafe where she's picked up. She's in the scene where she's crying on the staircase. She's in the scene where she goes back to the cafe after Freddie has been killed, and she's in the scene where she goes to see Markham at the end. 4 scenes. That's all she's in.
Would you like to tell the boys and girls at home what this is about?
Misery. That's what this is about. It is really, really good, but it's by far the darkest of all of the surviving episodes. Carol Ann Ford plays Jenny, who's a runaway from Hull, goes to London, gets picked up by a very shady character called Mason, who's played by Freddie from El Dorado, who it's blatantly, obviously, a pimp, sets her up. She becomes his highest earner, and there is a character played by Philip Maddock, who is acting as agent for basically organised crime who have prostitution rings. They obviously know about Mason, they recognise that he's got a little stable of girls, but that there's something special about Jenny. And they want her, and they agree to buy her off him. And there's a bit of backwards and forwards. And on the day that this exchange is supposed to happen, Jenny has taken it into her head that she's had enough. She's going to go and set up on her own. So she doesn't have an issue with working as a prostitute. What she has an issue with is working as a prostitute for somebody else. So she sets herself up in a flat, and there's quite a cleverly done sequence where she has 2 separate clients who are also business colleagues, and she's playing one against the other in terms of their business interests as well as her business interests. And it shows that she's very cold-hearted about it all. I mean, you do wonder how she actually makes any money, because she's fairly rude and unpleasant to her client.
She's a cold-hearted bitch. There's not an ounce of warmth coming out of her.
But, there are some people that like that.
I couldn't possibly comment.
Yeah, I mean, she's basically 3 steps away from a dominatrix, the way that she talks to them, but obviously you couldn't show those in the 60s.
Not in the 60s, old boy. Different times.
Markham manages to track her down and goes to see her, and she basically says, I'm doing fine on my own. I'm making more money than you are. Give it a few years. I will have enough to retire, and I will retire, and it'll all be grand. She's very forthright about that, and she knows her own mind. She puts in a blinding performance.
She does.
And then she's tracked down by the people who work for the Viceroy. And there's this weird scene where she has gone from all piss and vinegar and backbone and standing up for herself and I can manipulate these men because they're weak, to calling out after Markham while holding this teddy bear. I know it's not a teddy bear. I'm not going to say what it is. If you didn't notice what it is, I'm not telling you. Markham is beaten up by the goons that are sent after them both, dumped in the river. She is kidnapped and taken to Philip Maverick, and she says, I want to buy myself back. And he says, well, no, actually, you're worth a lot more to us on your back. And she was saying, well, you can't force me to do it. And he said, actually, they can, and there are places you will go to where you'll be brutalised so much that you will agree to do it. Is that what you want? And the episode finishes at that point from her perspective. The solicitor who hired Markham on behalf of Jenny's mother comes to see him, and Markham just says, look, this is a lost cause. I took a dip in the river. The next time I won't be getting out of it. I'm not taking this any further because there is no further to go. And she walked into all of this with her eyes wide open. She knows what she's doing and she's making her choices. So he disappears off back to Hull, and then you get the second girl, the young lassie from Sheffield, who's the blonde one that you were talking about, who comes to Markham and says, what can you do to help me? And then he's trying to sort her out at the end of the episode. You get the impression that he's missed the boat with Jenny, but he's trying to make amends by sorting this Suzanne.
Suzanne, that was it, yes.
By trying to sort Suzanne's life out, because in the meantime, she's been up before the magistrate for soliciting, which ended up in her local paper, which means that her family don't want anything to do with her. So you hope that she's going to end up on the straight and narrow as a result of Markham's intervention, so saving Suzanne when he couldn't save Jenny.
He makes her a can of soup.
Yeah, we assume that there is going to be more than that.
I know, but it all ends quite... There's a glimmer of hope in the episode of Misery. Two things. Caroline Ford puts in a great performance. I
think she puts in an amazing performance. Yeah. It's a bit clunky at the beginning, but that's the part that she's playing. She's playing this ingenue from Hull who thinks she's street smart but actually isn't, and covered in garish slap and enough eyeliner to make her look like a panda.
Pharaoh.
And then weeks later you see her and she's got her hair styled and she's wearing a posh and stylish frocks and she's got much more subtle makeup on and looking much more sophisticated. Has to be said, not acting it, but what I mean by that is Jenny isn't acting sophisticated. Caroline Ford puts in a fantastic performance right the way through.
Oh, yes,
and you really see her character changing from wide-eyed innocent to all the edges knocked off and confident in knowing what she's doing to terrified because she knows what the outcome of her life is and that she has no choice but to go along with the path that has been laid out for her.
In many ways, it's highlighted how poorly she was served by Doctor Who.
Yes, absolutely. Because the impression is always, oh, well, Caroline Ford couldn't put in a great performance. No, she could have done. She just wasn't given great scripts.
Grandfather! Every 30 seconds doesn't really allow for much character development.
She is the Colin Baker of the first season.
Yes. But then we come to Philip Maverick. Now, Philip Maverick we're great fans of here at EME. He largely puts in, or is given, characters with the same sort of underhand. They are the baddie of the piece. And here, I would dare to say, is his most powerful performance that I've seen to date.
Certainly his nastiest performance that I can think of, because he knows exactly what's going on. He knows what is going to happen to these girls that he's buying and selling. Okay, he does I'm only an agent. But then that nasty bit at the end where he goes, they have these places. I believe they call them battery farms. You will submit.
But the lighting, I wasn't entirely fond of it, but for his very last scene where he's talking to...
Oh, and falling in and out of the shadow.
Yeah.
Yes, that was beautifully done.
I can see what they were going for. I don't think it entirely worked, but I can see what they were going for.
I thought that was really atmospheric.
And when he was talking to the original fella, Freddie from El Dorado, when he was talking to him...
Or would you prefer to describe him as the Angel of Death from Artemis 81?
I'd rather not discuss Artemis 81 at all.
Definitely not Archive 80. Have you heard Archive 80?
Yes, I have.
Oh, isn't it wonderful?
It's marvellous. It's a podcast, a dramatised podcast. That's very, very good. And Amazon buy it as a TV series.
And I think... I'm not sure it went any further than pilot. It's difficult to see how that would translate to a TV series because it's so audio.
Yeah, it is.
It is one of those podcasts, and there are very few that really use the medium of audio as an intrinsic part of the plot. It was absolutely brilliant. Anyway.
Back to Philip Maddock. When he was talking to, I can't get Freddie out of my head, Mason. It was all... Everything that you've come into this room to say, we already know about you. We know more about you than you do. They'd really done their research. And he's there with this crystal glass of sherry with a rose in his lapel. And it's all very...
Yes, it is crystal.
Georgian. It's older than you. It's so powerful. It's completely in control.
There absolutely were Blofeld elements in that, weren't there?
It was only missing the pussycat.
Or was it because he clearly wasn't in charge and didn't want to be in charge? It's just, I am being paid a lot of money to do the unpleasant stuff.
And I'm bloody good at it.
Yes. And I don't care what you think.
Oh,
this is what's going to happen.
So you won't acquiesce? Here's the door. You may use it. You'll be back.
Yeah,
it's just marvellous. The performance is marvellous.
And Alex Wilcock, if you don't know this, and we've never talked about it, so I don't know whether you're aware of Public Eye or not, but if you haven't seen this Philip Maddock performance, you really need to, because this is Wolfish with fucking huge teeth.
You could have given this to any other performer. They wouldn't have wrenched out of it what he did. I can't think of anybody that dripped menace like he did.
Who would have done this well at that time?
Go on, the light bulbs come on.
Okay. Do you know who I think could do this with such menace?
Go on.
And just be utterly superb.
This better be good, yes.
Mary Morris. Think about her in Andromeda.
No. I know where you're coming from, but no. For the role and for what they are, it needed to be a man.
No. It would be so much nastier if it was a woman.
I can see where you're coming from, but I'm not convinced. Even Mary Morris.
No. If it was a woman doing that whole, I know what they're going to do to you, and I don't care, that carries a whole extra level of callousness. Because it then becomes, I know what they're going to do to you, and on a purely anatomical level, I understand, and I don't care. I don't think they would ever have been able to go down that route in the 60s. I'm not sure there are many shows that would go down that route now. I know there's the cliche of the madam who is tough to be kind and your band of gold and all of that, and that's a very powerful archetype. But the fact that we've had to pause recording while I think of somebody
to try and replace Maddock, tough act to follow.
I don't think TV audiences in the 60s would have tolerated that.
Well, there was one Doctor Who, and I forget now which it is. I've got a feeling in my head that it was Enemy of the World, but the producer of Series and Serials at the time, Ronnie Marsh, overruled Barry Letts. Was it a Pertwee episode? Anyway.
Are you thinking Colony in Space? Because certainly the...
Susan Jameson was supposed to be in it, in thigh-high leather boots.
As is it Dent? Or is Dent one of the colonists? And it's not the captain of the ship, it's whoever it is that is driving all the nastiness.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be Susan Jameson, and Barry Letts was told that he was not allowed to have a woman in that role.
Striding around in leather boots with a whip, dominatrix. I'm not having that on BBC, not Doctor Who. But she was paid for it because they cast her. So win-win. Yes.
But I'm not sure it was entirely the costume that was down to that. It was the fact that she was a woman.
That it was a woman,
Because if it had been a man wandering around in thigh-high boots, different story. And probably a different TV show.
Well, before we sign off this episode, there's a couple of extra fragments on the beautifully presented Network DVD box. Oh, God bless you, Network. I know Old Gold Media have sort of taken the crown. They've taken up the mantle. But I love what Network did. They put out stuff that had virtually no commercial value, and it's just bliss. On the second disc, we have two little extras. One is an interview with Alfred Burke from ATV Today. This was from June 1966, where they went on location for the episode You Can Keep the Medal.
Well, Alfred Burke, we've literally caught you at a tea break and get a few words about the location work you've been doing. How's it going here?
It's going very well. It's going the way it always does. A great deal of hanging about. The trouble with sort of doing filming for television is that it's all right while you're actually doing it, but in the meantime it's cosmically boring, because you have to do your own standing in, and you're usually standing in for your own left ear, or you've got to change your position and you find your foot's in a hole or something of that kind, and the director, who is sitting 500 yards away in a mobile recording van, can't understand why you can't get the right position. You have to tell him you're halfway up a mound of earth or something. But otherwise it goes all right.
Most of it was filming him film, and obviously grabbing him on his tea break, and he basically said, well, I've come to Birmingham, I've been here before, I'm an actor, I act. And that was pretty much the entirety of the interview.
It wasn't terribly in depth, but it was just nice to see that little fragment. Oh, and Timothy Wester's, whatever it was, by the docks or wherever they were.
Policeman, wasn't he?
Was he a copper?
Yeah, because when he was having his tea break, he took his hat off, and you could see the massive bald patch at the back. And he looked young.
But surprisingly old, as they all did in their 30s in those days. The other bit on the disc is... it's a fragment of an episode from a third series called It Must Be the Architecture, and it was a promo reel, and that's all that survives.
And it looks fascinating. It looks absolutely fascinating. It's about a hospital doctor who is in a lodging house, and the daughter of the lodging house comes into the hospital after having had a botched abortion. And everybody assumes that it is this junior doctor who has done the abortion and fouled it up. So there's a lot of gossip around him. He's not able to get the promotion that he was promised, so he's not going to be able to stay there. He could move on to another hospital, but as he says, it's all fish in a small pool. People will find out. That looked a very interesting episode. Having said that, if you've got 50 minutes of television and you can't pull an interesting 2 minutes out of it, you've got a fairly shite piece of television. And from the evidence that we've got from these 5 episodes, these were not shite pieces of television.
Yes, but is there any possibility of a criminal charge? Any danger of being struck off?
Look, I didn't do it.
Well, that's always a good start.
It's all lies, Mr. Marker. How can I stop people saying such things?
What's going to happen? I mean, what are you afraid of exactly?
Nothing. Probably nothing at all. Except that I won't get another job.
Well, do you want to stay here that badly? Must be the architecture, can't be the climate.
It's more the love that has gone into this thing. I'll just wrap up with an extract from The Oracle, because the ABC years came to an end with an episode called Cross That Palm When We Come to It, which was broadcast on the 13th of April 1968. Marker acts for a solicitor over some stolen jewels as a go-between between the gang who stole them and want the reward money. Taking the recovered jewels back to his office, Marker receives a visit from the police and is convicted of receiving stolen property. The solicitor who hired him was crooked and has disappeared. Marker pleads guilty to the charge and is sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. It's not one of the surviving episodes, however. It formed the basis for a novelisation later in 1974. And then it moved to Thames Television between 1969 to the end of its run in 1975, and we will cover those at a later date. I really, really enjoyed that. That was 5 superb episodes and a couple of fragments of wonderful TV. That's the epitome of, to me, 1960s black and white that I love.
Hold on to your hat for this. That was as good as Callan.
It was easily as good as Callan, yes. And I'll be quite honest, as with Callan, when we eventually do get to it, I'm looking forward less to the colour episodes. I think that something will be lost.
No, something, actually with both. things change. They're not lost, but there is a change of focus. There is a change of feeling and style to it. Yeah, it goes to early 70s colour videotape with all that means in terms of the visuals, but in terms of the character, the acting, the plot. With both Public Eye and Callan, it changes, but there isn't anything lost per se.
It's a bit like when we did, and I can't remember when or why we did it, the episode of Z-Cars with Geoffrey from Rainbow in it.
Yeah, we did that as his in memoriam.
But the whole look and feel and style of it was, to me, despite the fact that it was in higher quality in colour, it was less than the lower resolution black and white episodes.
I don't think it is. I don't like it as much. But that's because 60s TV is my happy place. I think there was a change in style. I don't think there was a change in quality.
Oh, no, that's a fair appraisal, yes. But it's like 1960s Coronation Street will grip me in a way that pretty much everything that came after it doesn't. I am still completely captivated by the very first episode. I think that's one of the finest pieces of TV ever produced as a snapshot of 1960.
And the viaduct crash
is
compelling in a way that the tram crash 30 years later, or whatever it was.
50 years later.
Oh, was that the 50th anniversary?
Yeah. Now, in fairness to them, I think that the tram crash off the viaduct for the 50th anniversary, splendid piece of TV.
Yes. I'm not diminishing that. It is very good, but it's not as good as the Ina Sharples buried under the viaduct.
True, and there was a definite tension with that special effects. But yes, so it's bye to the ABC era of Public Eye. I can heartily recommend it to you. As pieces of TV, they're excellent. If you're into archive TV, it's bloody excellent. Yes, go and look this up.
Unless we have an episode recovery, which would be wonderful.
We can hope. There's plenty of cans turning up all the time.
There are, and things like there's been, I think, 3 episodes of Boyd QC turn up reasonably recently.
There's quite a few things have turned up,
and
yes.
that predates this, and I know that the De Montfort University project have recently got a massive number of film cans to work their way through. So we'll see what the Film is Fabulous guys manage to turn up.
Yes, hauls are turning up all the time, and it is all wonderful. Until next time, boys and girls, thank you very, very much for hearing us out. We hope you've enjoyed the ride. We'll be back soon.
Well, we will be back soon with the second part of our anniversary spectacular.
Well, we'll be boarding the Liberator for...
Because this is our 7th anniversary, so we're doing Blake 7.
Until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye now.
Ta-ta.
The Exton Moss experiment featured Simon Exton and Ken Moss. All featured soundtracks are the property of their respective producers, and no infringement of copyright is intended. Title music was performed by the BBC Symphony Orchestra, and the programme was produced by Maverick Productions. For more information, please visit maverickproductionsuk.blogspot.com or find us on social media.